Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to vlog 2 of our Vision 2020 vlog sessions. Yeah, really excited about today. Unfortunately, we've had a few things lost in translation. I think there's 4 people missing from our hangout today, but that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. Uh, Good news is we've got Josh in with us today. So I know many of you have been texting and asking for Josh to come on and just enlighten us with all kinds of things, mainly to do with health and food, ascending one's spiritual self, uh, etymology, and all kinds of things. So I'm really excited about this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do something slightly different where I'm pretty much just going to interview Josh. So today's going to be Josh's day. I've written down some questions that people have asked. So I will relay those questions onto him and then he will pass them on. Hi, Josh.
Good evening, afternoon to you all.
Brilliant. So just to say on the panel, we've got Kyle Shively, we've got Kennedy Leota, and we've got Maya in the background as well. So yeah, welcome to you guys as well. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll open up the panel for questions towards the end. So Josh, what have you been up to, brother? Update us.
Just trying to make the dream a reality. Trying to get myself involved with as many different energies out there as possible on the same journey as us. Just trying to link the minds, build connections, and then build bridges to those connections so we can, manifest the journey for many of us to start enjoying life as it should be, and then practicing the real side of life, the real 5 and 6, the real physics, the real magic, so we can all then learn it together, grow, and then as we wish, leave this realm together in a happy ship.
Oh, beautiful. I listened to your hangout. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday on Sun and Moon Family United. You had brother John on there and
Sister Nikki.
Sister Nikki as well. And yeah, and they were just obviously sharing the testimonies of how you've healed them. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so brother John's in California and Sister Nikki lives in the Midlands in the UK. And they both reached out to me. We've had many people reach out, but these two were agreed to come on and have a little chat. So they reached out to me, quite ill health, and in need of some direction. So in speaking with them and dealing with them on a sort of day-to-day basis, trying to give them the eyes to see and the the feelings to feel, they embarked on a big journey of self and food and realigning their bodies. Thank you. Sorry, someone just come in to pass me something. And we give them a protocol basically for say 6 to 8 weeks to initially start on, and they followed it mainly to a T. And this protocol was to sort of realign their physical body. We call it the all K align. K being the 11th letter, the L even, balancing out the energies within. And Sister Nikki, she had polycystic ovaries. There was no ability to sort of have a period or anything like that from a young age of 14. She was not having regular cycles, and now she's looking to have a baby. She was very up and down, very depressive, had no real idea on where she wanted to be or where she wanted to go. And transformation within sort of 6 to 8 weeks was a very high spiritual functioning mind. Depression, anxiety, everything left her. Within 4 weeks, she had the ability to regulate her cycles again. So after the 4th week, she was regulating cycles as she should. And within the full 8 weeks, I think she lost close to about 45 pounds of waist. And then from obviously being a depressive type of behavior, she opened up to being a full energetic bundle of joy, who now has eyes to see life, and all she wants to do is progress, learn, and grow on this side of the spectrum, which has just been amazing. Brother John sort of reached out for his own health purposes because he knew that he wasn't, exactly where he should be. And within sort of 12 weeks, he'd lost 55 pounds. In the same process, his 84-year-old Nana, she had cancer and was taken into hospital. And we managed to get her out of hospital and reverse her cancer. And she's feeling better than she ever has for 30, 40 years. So he's seen with his own eyes the ability that this food has to heal himself, his family, and change his perception from sort of a matriarchal viewpoint to an eternal, humble, loving, empathetic understanding of who we are, where we are, and how we should be.
Oh, wow. That's powerful, powerful stuff. I really urge anyone who hasn't seen it yet to please go to Sun and Moon Family United YouTube channel. I think they were down, they're back up now, and just listen to that hangout. There was lots of powerful stuff in there, and this is a really good topic to kick off with. I think, health and food. This is a strong topic, but I think quite often a scary topic for many people because it requires change, it requires action, and I think a lot of us, including myself, we like to hear all the good stuff, the spiritual stuff, and when it comes to actually taking action and doing something about it, it's very difficult because it requires you to physically do something.
Yeah.
But as we know, obviously, food is a big, big part of this awakening or this transition, and there's a lot of confusion about a lot of things, vegan versus plant-based food, which you talked about as well in that hangout. But I think we want to touch on that. And it also ties into questions that I had. Someone asked about suicide and depression. Someone said, if I'm depressed, what's going on? Someone else asked, if I feel like committing suicide, why aren't I just allowed to just press the reset button and end my life? And someone else also asked about karma. What happens when we die and what is karma? So I think the food almost ties into all those things or seeps into those things. Do you want to dive into that, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. So what was the first question that we should have taken on
Yeah.
that? And I'll bring it into sort of light.
So I think let's start with depression. Let's start with that one because a lot of people are feeling it at the moment. Obviously, as the energy is changing, this awakening process is becoming a lot more stressful on people, not just spiritually, but physically as well. So, what part does food have in this whole depressive sort of movement that's going on at the moment?
Yeah, I feel food is really the key to beginning any journey, and most beings in this matrix are depressed. So I'll first off by saying that most people are depressed because they haven't been able to express themselves, and expression is one of the true the natures of your being. To express oneself honestly is one of the hardest things we can do. And one of the, Bruce Lee was one of the philosophers that was given to us in the Matrix, and that was one of his sayings, to express oneself honestly. Most of us are acting from an ego point of view, and the ego's only out to sort of give and take, receive smiles and pats on the back. So when we're existing from our ego, we don't actually have the ability to express ourselves. So food keeps us trapped in a sort of a negative cycle loop because our unactivated, deactivated, and suppressed light within can only be reactivated by eating alive and magnetic food. So the saying that you are what you eat holds real big ground here, because if we don't know who we are, it's really because we don't know what to eat. So if we are eating dead and non-vibrational foods, all we can expect from that is to be non-vibrant and to eat things that are going to create or add to death. So a part of the teachings that we're sort of trying to promote and help people see is that for an active lifestyle, one must take action. So first of all, one of the stages to this would be seeking the knowledge. or C and K, which is the twin pillars of our mind, which we'll go into when we speak about etymology. So once we seek the knowledge of food, we must take it into action. Now, action is one of the hardest things in our universe, in this multiverse, because it's things we got to do from ourselves. Living in the matrix is a very outwardly processed thing. So you usually go to work, which is war with the K, and then you earn this money so you can pay for things to be done for you, which takes the experience out of yourself from learning and growing to then become a master of yourself. So when you start to get self-aware and you start to progress in sort of your learning, earning to become God, you'll start to see the faults within yourself. And really, it's time to take action when you feel like this, because depression only comes from non-fluid states of water. So a still bottle of water says it itself. A sine wave of the physical is ill. Water should always be moving to maintain its vibrancy, its energetic field. And from this, we're only ingesting stale water, dead water, which is not reverberating or creating new cells of any interest in us. So once we eat the live and vibrational foods, they start to heal the body and heal the mind. Activate unactivated and inactivated DNA, amino acid coding profiles, which essentially are light. The media tells us our brain is only operating at around about 15% in the matrix. And this always didn't ring true with me, because I always wanted to express myself in the highest form I could be. So I can give one tip, which is practical science, is that your brain is not held at 15%. You hold your brain at 15%. And when you understand that impossible is only I'm possible, and you need to make the changes yourself to create your universe, to expand your consciousness as far as you deem fit or you want to take it. The actions that you take here is your karma, which will then depend on where your universe is going to be in this multiverse. I don't know if that's too philosophical. If you'd like more grounding on that, I can bring it down a bit, but was that understood?
Yeah, no, from my point of view, it really was. I hope people are taking notes. Those of you in the panel, I will open it up for you guys to ask questions. So just take notes and remember what questions you wanted to ask. But just for the sake of time and fluidity, I will just keep things going for now. So
basically,
I think the next natural question, sorry?
Go on, I would say basically, all you need to do is eat from the ground, the highest vibrational foods, and it's just a matter of time before your reality will change. You will no longer be depressed, and you will start taking actions and having eyes to see the next stage of your game. Usually you get depressed in cycles because you haven't changed and you haven't made progress. And then was there another question, Brother Martin?
Yeah, no, that was going to be my next my next question, actually, about what is live electrical food? Because I think a lot of people will hear this and go, okay, that sounds all great. So are you saying I can eat anything that grows out the ground, rice and flour, and can I eat anything that grows? What what's live food and what's dead food? What's the difference?
Well, food is basically your level of conscious awareness here. So if you look at the word itself is FOOD. We know D is form. We know the two O's put together create sight, as in book and look. And when you can get a full understanding of this etymology, you'll see it as well. F represents like light or photons, but in a matter sense. So you have pH, which represents photons and phantoms, but the F represents sort of the matter, material man here in form, as in fat is, at the F. So the food, the word itself, is the matter needs to look at his form. So the food will create your form. Sorry, Martin, I forgot the question there.
Yeah, no, you're on the right track, because I think this is like sort of like bleeding into etymology as well, which is
I'm trying to put a little bit in, just trying to put a little. So we was on about the electric, yeah.
The electric, yeah. So what are electric foods? What's an electric diet and what's non-electric diet? There's so much confusion on this. There's so many versions. I mean, I've been on this journey as well, and I'm told many things by many different people. You should eat this. This is bad for you. This is good for you. What do you recommend?
So anything electrical, or well, most food is electrical because it has to, charge your physical body up. The thing is, when we cook things or when we, add certain foods to other foods, we denature the electrical charge within it. For example, we should be drinking water out of copper. And if you're thinking you're drinking water out of a copper flask, but then you're cooking food in a stainless steel pan, and this stainless steel is positively charging the food when you need it negatively charged to take away the positively charged ions in the body. Also, when you cook any sort of electric food, the electricity within it is very, very minimal. And then you're cooking the digestive enzymes out of the food. So then the body has to make the digestive enzymes. And I'm talking 90% of the digestive enzymes release from the food. So your body has to make these digestive enzymes to digest this food, which creates lethargy and a toll on the body. Anything electrical within its natural form, but then there are foods that have been created by man, and we call these foods hybrids, which are two genomes put together to cross to create a new type of food. And these types of food have a lower natural resonance, and this resonance contains an unnatural balance of sugars. Our body really only wants amino acids to then code itself to build physical blocks within the body to grow new cells. The amino acids essentially are given to us as alkalizing foods. If you look at the word of the amino acid is amino acid, and our body does not want any acidic foods within it, because our body is an alkalizing computer that then can turn the acidic foods, the acidic processes within, and neutralize them with acid. So what's the modern day diet is doing, people are eating foods that contain so much acidity, or foods that cause acidity within the body. So for example, milk and dairy products cause your body to go into something called metabolic acidosis. Now, our body is very clever and it likes to maintain around 7.35 on the alkaline or the alkaline scale, which again is the pH scale. And remember I said that pH is like photons or light, and the scale is neutral at 7 and goes up to 14 and down to 7, just as the planes on our Earth do. So if you think of the food that we can consume, this food can take us to higher realms and activate us in certain ways and progress us to new heights of consciousness just by consuming what's righteous, which is the foods of God. So the unnatural balance of sugars within, say, a carrot, it's a starchy food, it's a root vegetable, and it is a hybrid. This unnatural balance of sugars can still feed pathogens such as candida, which is really one of the only illnesses within the human, which is fed in a mainstream modern day diet from yeast and sugar. Now, the yeast that expresses itself on our body, if I can just say, like, everybody's probably had foot rot or athlete's foot. Now that eats through your skin in like moist, wet environments quite rapidly. Bicarbonate soda will just destroy that in, within a couple of days and reverse that back to normal due to its alkalinity and its salt nature. But this is what's happening inside the physical body. So there's mucous membranes all over the body, and where they break through this too much acidity, the candida will then sit there and feed. First of all, in the gut, for example, it will become IBS. And if left, eating a standard diet, it will then turn into leaky gut. Sorry, Crohn's first, and then leaky gut syndrome. So what's happening is this candida is just eating itself through the body, anywhere it decides to express itself. And this is cancer. So all we need to do is get ourselves in an alkalizing environment, and this pathogen cannot survive. So what's happened is 99% of the population across the Western world is just consuming foods which feed candida, which is just great business for the pharmaceutical industry. If you look at the word pharma, you can see harm, right in the middle of it. And P represents mouth and A represents alpha. So through the mouth, you harm alpha, which is pharmacy. And pharmacopoeia is to poison somebody. So the light is always there behind the illusory words and terms that have been given to us. So one of the most important things to do is consume live electric foods to become alive, electric, and high vibrational. being a sort of a magnetic body, the foods that we eat need to be electric or dielectric, and this acts as a natural harmonial response within the masculine and feminine energy here, as we climb ourselves to become, you know, L, should we say, and the food is really the only thing that takes us there. Is there any direction you want to give, Martin, so I can elaborate?
Yeah, that's fantastic, Josh. You know what I got as you were speaking there was that it almost seems like old age, what we call old age and dying, is a form of cancer,
It would
right?
be,
Because technically, if we all ate a fully electric diet over generations from birth,
uh-huh.
eventually our bodies wouldn't expire because there would be no acid. They will maintain their pH level, and we could literally live forever. Is that a
the
fair?
the longevity of the body has been suppressed by such an extreme rate. If you really have an understanding of food, and you know that you've literally been poisoned from the moment you were like into the, well, even conception, you know, they have vaccines during pregnancy, then you enter this world through the placenta or the placenta, and you're given injections and you're given food that is not food. It contains no light, no energy, and yeah, you're really struggling to survive from the moment you are born here. So if you were to poison somebody all through their life, and for them to live a 10% life, you would think that was a pretty good, you know, length of time to be living, you know, for full poison. So if you could times the expectancy of life by maybe 10, then you're looking at maybe that's what a natural being should exist in, between the 900s, you know.
Well,
That
which is in all the ancient scriptures. You know, people live to be 1,000 years. That's normally like a benchmark of how long people lived in the
Yeah,
olden days, apparently in the
yeah.
biblical times.
Because you're not recharging. They've given you like cloves, and cloves. If I was to say, you know, you can see loaves, as in to loathe something is the opposite of love, yeah.
Yeah,
And they give you loaves of bread, don't they?
yeah.
So in the wording, it's telling you you shouldn't love these things. You should loathe these things. And we have a T-shirt, which is T physical shirt. We have T rousers. Rousing means up. So these go up your physical, these T rousers. And then we have T rainers. If you were to put a reins or a rainer on a child, it's to hold them back. So you're putting these trainers on or these shoes on to stop your body evolving consciously, discharging itself within the ground or the earth, because every electrical thing that this matrix has to offer needs a grounding or an earth. And so does your electromagnetic body. So all of these things, not just food, but all of these things counter for our existence being short here. And obviously knowledge can take you to, you know, an extent of life that you could live for many, many hundreds of years, even if you've been poisoned here, you know.
Wow. So is it fair to say that you know, we're living in times where the frequency of this realm is obviously changing, hence this awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now, more than any time in recent history, we're able to reverse some of this poisoning by taking action now. So the foods that we eat, the actions that we're doing, sun gazing, eating well, you
Grounding.
know, all these things. Can these things start to reverse this damage and this poisoning, or is it too late and pointless?
No, it's never too late. I can honestly say, you know, in the last year we've healed approximately like between sort of 50 and 60 people with a 100% success rate from every illness that I've ever seen and come across. But in the same stances, you're seeing skin that's been sort of I'm not saying a saggy skin. I'm saying a depressed looking facial structure with a posture post you are. So your posture is how you will become, but with a posture that's drowsy, down looking, depressive, to then upright in a perfect, you know, standing function, with eyes that have lifted, skin that's healed and repaired itself, maybe 6 to 10 strongs, or weeks we call them as well, um, having a completely different look. Lost 20 years, lost 25 years, and that's in 6 weeks to 10 weeks. So if we can consistently adapt and change and progress, we're having the ability to renew our flesh from a cellular level. Unfortunately, it takes 7 years to renew every single cell in the body from the heart, you know. So once we've done this diet to live it, because diet literally means die, T is the physical. Your physical would die by eating these foods. Once we become alive again, we can heal and reverse every single ailment within 6 to 10 weeks. And then after that, we can regenerate our body at such a cellular level that we can reverse all of this damage and live for a very, very long time through virtues.
Wow, fantastic. So let's bring it back to the spirit, right? So how does this harm our spiritual growth and the general spiritual essence of this place that we're in? How does eating animals, particularly, you know, a lot of people will say that we have to eat animals, you know, it's nature's way, or you get some, you know, there are all these excuses. So I want to bring it back to spiritual terms. What is this doing to us spiritually? Never mind the physical.
So the illusion of you know, the standard American diet we were given, or the standard English diet we were given, was for people that don't have the ability to take control of their own thoughts. So the diet that was given was to keep people in that trance or in that state of being. Just as the government is to govern minds, it's only there to govern minds that can't govern themselves. So when we have an ability to govern ourselves, we no longer need the government, which means we can control our own lives. And this is the full understanding of the multiverse, or the place you found yourself existing. Animals are basically, you know, our partners in this realm, and we have the ability to share with the animals, to help them and to guide them. But when you understand transmutation and occult sort of mysticism, you can use the animals for your eyes to see. And this is a symbiotic relationship with you and the animal. Hence, the word animal is "and I'm all," because we're all a part of this together. And these animals have some sort of conscious awareness, but you have the ability to enter their mainframe and use them as eyes, like birds. Back in the day, you've always seen the vampire turning to the bat. A certain type of meditation and a certain type of understanding will allow this to happen. So animals aren't here for eating, and they never were. The only animals that eat flesh are predators. And if you look at the word predator, it's a predator. So they were here from the previous levels of consciousness when we were going through an experience of eating flesh to understand why we shouldn't. Flesh itself, the word, I don't like to use the word meat, because meat is not a true word for an animal's skin tissue. Meat is just me and you meeting, or the food meeting my mouth to become me. Flesh itself, if you look at the word flesh, you see F less H. Now, H is a vibration, F is the matter or the material man. So the material man will have less vibration by eating this. It says it in the word. Most people think meat has something to offer, so they consume it. A lot of people think it has something called protein in it. Well, most people don't know what protein is. They've just, you know, been conditioned to say these words. But protein is one of the, you know, the non-essential amino acids that you make from essential amino acids that you get from fruit and vegetables. So protein itself, then you would say, where does the animal get its protein from? So if you're consuming a cow, the best type of cow you could consume would be some cow that's probably been grass-fed, would you say?
Yep.
So why would you want to eat grass that's been gone through a digestive system, and now it's left a trace type of mineral in the muscle tissue and a small amount of unnatural denatured amino acids that are made for cows, not for humans, when you could just eat the grass for a higher type of food? And a chicken, which is probably, you know, one of the most favorite types of flesh here, they eat GMO grains, have a lot of antibiotics and vaccines, etc. And most people on a journey wouldn't want to eat genetically modified grains as a form of sustenance, but they'd rather eat the tissue of a dead animal that's been consuming this because they feel like they need the protein. Well, let me tell you, anytime you consume anything of an animal product, straight away your body goes into stress, and it's metabolic acidosis. So your body depletes every single mineral, not every single mineral, sorry, all the minerals it needs to regulate alkalinity within the body by depleting your bones of all these minerals, which is obviously why milk was given us the reverse juice to help your bones but it doesn't. On the flip side, it destroys your bones and gives you brittle bone disease, osteoporosis, and all these other things. But any acidic line will feed cancer and candida in the body and maintain real ill health and a low vibration for most beings. So just by eating flesh itself, it shows, you know, the universal coding within that there's no empathy or understanding. So I will say, when you stop eating the flesh, there's a real big shift within the initial consciousness and the vibration in the being. And I say you get something called empathy. Now, empathy is EM, path, Y at the end. So EM together in this language represents electromagnetism, and it's a path, and Y represents choice. So it's the electromagnetic path by choice. And this is why when you eat of a higher conscious diet, you don't even need a conversation with beings. You can just resonate and hear and feel what they're saying, because you have a connection through an electromagnetic pathway to the other being that you're communicating with. And these are the things that people have waiting for them when they just choose to switch to higher vibrational foods. I don't know, Brother Martin, I know that when we spend time together, that electromagnetic path is there. And, you know, we don't need to speak really. We know everything about the next sentence that we're going to share with each other before we've said it. You know, and I know this is food. I've seen it with many, many people. So this empathy is very, very, very strong, but it's very rare to have. You know, someone that says they're an empath is someone that says they can feel for someone else or see them in their position. But the true empath is somebody that feels the field of the other being. And this is all waiting for us with our supernatural abilities, just by becoming supernatural.
Wow, that's fantastic. And this almost ties into what I've been talking about recently about the positives, the negatives, and the neutrals. Now, I think, I know that once you eat right, once you unlock that programming, because obviously food is programming within our physical construct, and that programming has been put in there to suppress our true empathic spiritual nature. So it's interesting. I was doing a hangout today, and someone was asking me to elaborate on that whole, how do you know if you're a negative, or if you're a neutral, or if you're a positive? And you know, you almost just answered the question for me right now. You know by your empathic footprint, basically.
Yes.
And food unlocks that. So a lot of people say, well, I need food to live. If you don't eat meat, no, I need flesh, sorry. I need flesh to live. You know, we need proteins, and if we don't eat flesh, you will start to die. Now that person is speaking from ego. There's no empath. They're not worried about the impact their decision has on that other being, on that dog, that cat, or that chicken. They don't care about that. They only care about sustaining themselves. So they have no empathy whatsoever.
They might think they do, but you would know, being a higher being yourself, that you know that there's no empathy there, because you wouldn't have the empathy, because it wouldn't be allowed within the nature of the being.
Yeah.
So again, food, if you think of your body as has many inactivated DNA or amino acid coding, your physical body is a block or a cell, which is something that you're held prisoner within, to this matrix. Now, you can activate yourself. So your physical body, if you imagine it blocking your spirit, so your spirit is within this body.
Mm-hmm.
Food, depending on your level of virtues, will allow light to open up those pathways to connect you to your spirit higher and higher and higher as you progress. So the higher your level of gnosis, your higher level of awareness, your higher level of action, which is your karma, depends on the higher level of your being. Now, as you strip these things away, you see the DNA transmuting and progressing and becoming higher and faster and expressing itself, you know, in a higher functioning way. I would say the reciprocation is a higher resonance, until it becomes at such a resonance that it collapses within itself and becomes circular DNA, where we circle our square. Now, this circular DNA allows us to shoot through these circles and blow ourselves out of our third eye. And all of these things will be a natural process of the being as he progresses himself back to God. And by God, I just mean the resonance that was here given to us for existence. maybe you would call it the dielectric field. But anything that grows as a natural food here, a electric food, non-hybrid, is for the highest form and for the consumption of the philosopher.
Wow, wow, wow. Powerful stuff, man. Just before I opened, for questions to those waiting in the background, I just wanted to touch on, something that a conversation that we've had before, and I just want your input on it, because as far as I see it, I really do think that there are three types of soul groups on Earth. These positives, negatives, and neutrals.
Yes.
And I almost feel as if, not that it's predestined, or it almost is, but there are just some people who are here and they are meant to be playing out certain roles. Now, some people call them non-player characters. Some people call them soulless beings. Some call them just, there are all these different names.
Yeah.
But I reckon that there are just some beings that are incarnated right now in this realm to serve a negative purpose or a neutral purpose. So this information, so I'm starting to think that not everyone is meant to awaken. Not everyone is meant to ascend. Not everyone is meant to be plant-based. Some people are here to finish off those programs within this paradigm until a reset happens of some sort, where that has to be forcefully stopped. So I kind of feel like, I don't know if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like there are people that I'm starting to speak to who, for all intents and purposes, are convinced they have to eat meat, and they are willing to die for that right to do so. And I'm starting to think that maybe that is their journey, that is their path. They are meant to be here to do that for karmic reasons or for universal reasons for the collective, because everything's a 9/11. They're here to awaken other people, the positives, if you like.
Yeah.
Is that something that resonates, or?
So I would say that the unconscious, I would say that the matrix or the mother's tricks or the duality world that we have here, the programmable nature of these beings act out the nature of the matrix. So by symbols and signs and coding and certain things like this, because of their unaware state, they're being controlled in a certain way which controls this paradigm. So without that, the matrix would not be here, because you need beings that are unconscious for this matrix to play out. Because without the matrix here, we wouldn't have any growth. We wouldn't learn and we wouldn't grow. So I would say there's a set figure of illusory energy fields here that possibly could think that they're self-aware, but because they can't take action, which creates the karma, they won't progress to becoming a spirit and then a soul. So they have no ability to connect to the spirit. They just have a higher functioning brain. Now, without bringing practical science into this, you can't really speak for sure. But the will to learn is what creates that divine nature within. So when someone has the will to learn, they don't go off beliefs. They then now know. So as you were saying, you were speaking to people that are really convinced they need to eat meat. Well, that's because they haven't done the journey themselves. And they're on that beeline following information that's been handed to them, because practical science is only within. Observing, testing, repeating, becoming sensitive to what's out there to life, So yeah, many senses of the form. I've spoken to many beings that, have no idea, don't want to learn, don't care about learning. And they're there to keep the busyness going for then us to find and see, to learn and grow, to connect with our spirit, to then find our soul, or the soul, should I say.
Yeah, I agree. Because I've stopped, there was a time that I went through where I almost became a vegan vigilante. I was so angry, and I wanted to, every time I saw a post about someone saying how bad, how we all need to eat meat, and they're defending the idea of moving away from that paradigm, I felt this burning rage and anger and this need to want to convert this person. and let them know. And I found myself caught up in these debates and conversations of me trying to justify why they shouldn't be killing other beings and eating their flesh, which
Yeah.
is a bizarre paradigm to be in, because to me it's just not something we should even be. It's just so obvious. It's like common sense to me. It's
Yeah. It's the
why
history
are
though.
we even having this conversation?
The
So
history's
you know,
so deep on it from programming from school that everybody thinks that we were hunter gatherers and all of these things. When trees drop fruit, they
that's
drop
right.
fruit.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
to do anything. They give it to you selflessly. And anything in that relationship with you, that's exactly what you should be consuming, because there's no harm. You're not hurting anything. There's no negative impact on anything around you, because if you did not choose to eat that fruit, it would go back into the soil and create wonderful soil so the fruit could grow again the next year. And then if you consume that food, your wee is full of amino acids and vitamins and minerals, and your poo wouldn't contain any poison because you're not eating of the flesh and toxic chemicals. So everything
Mhm.
that you release from you would go back into the tree. So the relationship is always there with something, and that's where common sense and logic comes into play. Because even with fruits, even with vegetables, you've got to cut them. But things on vines and things off trees, they drop themselves, and this is why fruit is for you, and the fruit contains the amino acids with the seed. To seed something is to see the form, D being the form, the rest being the seed. So that progressive life cycle must only, or is only sustainable through the fruit. As you know, with vegetables and certain fruits that are hybrids, you must keep the fruit, cut it, and regrow it. Like a pineapple, pineapple's not a natural fruit, but if you chop the top off, there's no seeds. You just have to regrow it through that way. Same with the celery, and same with all the other things. So, the flowers that come off the top of them obviously do drop the seeds, but again, that's not the fruit, that's the vegetable.
Wow, brilliant. I think I'm going to try and open up the panel. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question or add anything before we move on to the next subject? Yeah, is that Kyle? I'll just unmute you. Let's see. Yes, Kyle.
I just had a question about like eating certain fruits and vegetables. I'm allergic to like all melons, like watermelon, muskmelon, any type of melon. When I eat it, it gives me like an allergic reaction, and I don't understand why something from like nature or something like that. I'm probably not eating a inorganic one maybe or something, but I buy seeded watermelons, but then I have like some type of allergic reaction.
You
And
get
I
really
get
big
sick.
bloating, or how do you feel?
My throat gets really itchy and my ears burn in the inside, like, and it feels like itchy, like I can't itch it. And then it eventually if I eat too much, it eventually goes into my respiratory.
Wow. So yeah, basically all melons are hybrid fruits anyway. So they don't have a sort of a correct balance of magnetism within. But melons are monofruits, and melons should only be eaten alone, and if not, they can cause reactions within. Melanin, obviously, being within this plant, you may have a heightened level of melanin within you due to the other foods you've been eating, or a lower. But I would say, if you feel like that, brother, you just stay away from those foods, because your body's obviously become sensitive to the terpenes or the profiling within that your body's rejecting. So it's not really a bad thing to be rejecting melon, because it's not one of the best things you could really eat. And at the end of the day, it is a mono food that needs to be consumed on its own. So are you consuming it on its own?
Honey?
Melon.
Do
Do you consume it on its own?
Yeah, but I haven't eaten any in a while because of getting sick and stuff like that, and it's a terrible feeling that don't go away
Yeah.
real fast.
So are you on a plant-based diet right now or not?
I'm on a half and half. Like, I'm very aware of everything you're saying and all that stuff. It's just
Yeah.
trying to break this. It's in my society out in America, that's all they show you. That's all they feed you is everything on the inside of the grocery store is all fake. It's all boxes. It's all crap. You're supposed to be eating from the
That's
outside,
exactly.
like
Yep.
vegetables and fruits and all that stuff. But I don't know. They just push it so hard on people that you have no choice. It's just like so hard to defend all that. It's bad.
Yeah, this is why this journey that we're trying to sort of bring forth right now is so important, because you know, you can think you're eating as healthy as you want, heal thy as you want, but when you go to a shop, you know, there's commercial farmers out there that put food into these shops, and they are only grown with 3 minerals. There's 114 minerals out there for consumption, and this is what activates the higher mind, the higher body, and the higher senses. So it really, in a sense, your consciousness is progressively pushing you with your awareness. So when you become aware of, say, your chemtrails and your tap water and these things, well, what do? You either take action or become depressed about it. So when you take
Right.
action, you get yourself a distiller, and then you feel the difference within, and then you don't go back to it, and then you start to notice things. And as you slowly progress and earn and learn and grow, you will then see these things. So now we're in a position right now that we know that the food that we're eating, even the organic food's been sprayed with organic pesticides. None of these things should be here. So to heighten ourselves and give ourselves a full human experience here, we need to get back to nature. We need to grow electric heirloom seeds for our own consumption to have the best experience here. Now, the Matrix only has things to offer people that in a busyness are in commerce, so they can detach themselves from the true nature of the game, let's say, or the earth, and lose their vibration. And that is the duality here. You either have a vibration or you lose it. You either are progressing or you're regressing, or you could call it congress as well, I suppose, because we've had our gress conned by our advertisers and the beings that be. But they are supposed to do that. So you just need to look at it in a positive way and progress and take action. And this is your karma, So when you see something's wrong, if you don't take action, there's only one thing that's going to happen, and your electro or bioelectromagnetic field is going to put you in a situation where you're going to be tested. You're either going to become ill, and then if you are ill and then you go to the doctors, if your gnosis doesn't carry you enough to say that these doctors aren't good and they have no gnosis, then you're going to be put into the hands of somebody that has no knowledge, and they're going to poison you with pharmaceuticals, and then they're going to harm you even more until you have a quicker death, and then you're recycled back here again. So it's really about gaining control of one's temple and taking the steps to be. So I wouldn't be too bummed on the watermelon. Just, if one of your senses is letting you know you shouldn't eat it, and just keep progressing, and try to connect with the beings around you, grow the food you can, eat of that food you can, open some DNA within, open some more information, and just keep growing. Just keep growing till we're there together,
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. And I just want to add as well, Carl, there's no real pressure. You shouldn't feel guilty or bad about what you think you should be doing and against what you're not doing. I think the most important thing is your intent and the fact that you are trying to take action. So that's the most important thing, is taking action. If you know there's something you can change and you haven't changed it, that's when there's a problem, because you're like, well, I know I shouldn't be doing this, so why am I
That's when
still
you get depressed,
all the time.
Yeah.
All the
And
time.
and like Josh is saying, that's when depression comes in, because you're now going against your vibration, your will. Your soul is telling you something, and we're actively, and we all do it. I do it sometimes, and you're actively ignoring, that vibration, that frequency that your soul is trying to lead you to. It's almost like your soul
is the final step for me, is my diet to bring my vibration up to the next level. Because I'm pretty aware of everything else, and like a lot of the stuff you guys have been talking about. And I just feel like food is like a really big part of it. And I'm like right at, and I can't get over it.
Knowledge is great, but without applied knowledge, it means nothing, yeah? So you've acquired this knowledge, which is now a perception. So if you have such a wide perception in this inception, you can't have deception, yeah?
Right.
So now you can't really be deceived. Now you take action upon the food, and I guarantee you, my brother, you will feel and become perceptive to the spiritual nature of this realm, and it will send you on a completely, I'd say, I say a different path, but obviously you're on that path, but it's a righteous path. And that just opens up the spirit.
That final step or that final guide towards that right path. I'm like just right there, and I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I feel so close.
It's just food, brother. Like really is food. If you can just, you know, we'll help you as well with whatever you need, you know, but if you can get yourself in a position where you're mentally strong enough to take this on, it only takes 6 to 8 weeks to really open up that spirit within through the food. So as you've acquired that gnosis, you just expect yourself to take a quantum leap in your vibration.
Can I share something really quick?
Yeah.
Before we move on. First of all, I just wanted to say that I purchased one of my friends' deck of cards. She just makes like they're called self-care cards or something like that. And I chose one today and I wrote it down here. And it said, what would be possible if I were to hear exactly what I need to hear? And what is it that I need to hear most? And I would say that this is what I needed to hear most. And also, I'm same with Kyle. I'm almost in the same boat as you. Just being aware and perceptive of like all of these things, all of the knowledge, all of the understanding of where we are at right now, and internally and externally, and you know, the damages, the pain, and all of that. But this is exactly what I needed to hear to start taking proper action. So to really elevate myself in that aspect of my life, in that part of my life. And I just wanted to share one thing. I was watching an interview with Omar Davis and Aset Iyawaku and they're talking about food consumption and how they were talking about the pain and the agony that goes down when there's a squirrel. You see it? Hello. There's a blue jay that was just right here too. But so yeah, they're talking about how the pain and stuff from the animals and how you're consuming the pain even after it's slaughtered or, you know, killed. And but one thing that Omar brought up was that the same goes for plants as well. And so having like a prayer or a spiritual I guess ceremony every time you consume plants, even it's just in respect or in connection with your food as well, because he stated that the when you pick up plants, you know, harvesting plants, they send off, I don't know what the actual term is, but like pheromones or something like that, like to other plants, warning them like that there's danger in the midst of there's picking and killing of the plant, and that they're living beings as well, and they are conscious beings, they are growing, they just like us. And but one thing that you pointed out, Josh, that kind of helped me with that aspect of that is our waste, which isn't really waste, but if we were to have an alkalized body and give back to the plants by our waste, giving back to the plants, it's almost like an exchange of positive energy within the harvesting of plants. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know if that made much sense at all.
Yeah,
but
it's perfect.
Mm.
Really true.
Yeah.
Mate. Really true. The pheromones that you're saying, if you look at the word pharaoh, you know you know what a pharaoh cell is?
Fair soul?
A pharaoh cell, like you view the magnetic field on it.
No, I don't.
So if you look at a magnet under a pharaoh cell, you'll see the flower of life, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Which shows you the creation. This is what the ancients are left here for. So a pheromone, if you can imagine it as being magnetic, so the magnetism, they're releasing a magnetic field out of distress which is then sending these magnetic fields, or we call them atoms here, but around, so they're reverberating. It's a different vibration that these plants are feeling. So like I said, with the fruit, which is what we're supposed to eat with the seeds in it, they drop their cells from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no cutting.
Yeah, right. They selflessly, like you said, give it.
Yes, this is the only thing that really we should be consuming. And then herbs and plants as such, you know, they're there for the healing. So if you look at the word plant, you'll see a plan, and then T, which is your physical. So you plan your physical plant.
Yes.
And when you're saying about these ceremonies and the convenience food and the confectionery, if you look at the words confectionery, confect and effect and defect, can you see where that word's taking you?
As a cause?
Yeah, if you think of like
purpose?
Yeah, like the effect is what something has on you. Well, if the E being the ether, yeah, and fect being, well, I won't break that word down because it's quite a high level word to do for people that are quite new, but confect, effect, and defect, yeah. So that fect there is taking away the fect by defect, and they're conning your fect by giving you that food.
Right.
So everything inside the food is basically 72% water. So your conscious perception will change the field of that water in the food, the fruit, or the vegetable matter. So whenever you take the food off the tree, sorry, let's not take fruit. Let's go down to something you're cutting. So say you're cutting a vegetable. You're removing, say, a celery. And in that removing, it's giving off pheromones or an electromagnetic response. Then you have something in your mind that can change the water of that. So as an initial response, it's given a distress hormone, but you can correct the field in the fruit or the vegetable that you've cut by your thoughts.
So is it almost like a positive negative exchange, but in a thought form instead of the physical, like you said, when we cook food? Okay.
Like an etherical thought form, symbiotic relationship with you and the food.
Because when we're cutting food, we're doing it with meaning, but our thoughts create meaning, so we can activate and trigger that meaning through our thoughts when we do take action.
So whenever you, obviously I'm in a sort of perception where I've been preparing my food for many years and I can't have someone else do it. But even if someone else is preparing your food, say you go into a plant-based restaurant and it's a high level, you know, the chef there doesn't want to be at work. He's working to earn some money. So his thought processes are negative, and that's going into the food content, which is primarily water, which is then, you know, destroying the healing nature of the water content in the food. So you can correct that by your thought processes. So ceremony food, ceremonial drinking, you know, water, these sort of things are very important when you get to a certain level of consciousness.
So that being said, I just want to share, I was just working at a village, at a baker, not too long ago. And, you know, it brings it down to that guilt, you know, that guilty feeling that you have when you are dealing with these products, or, you know, flesh and foods, you know, the breads and all of that. And a few weeks before I left, I would break down and just start crying, just like preparing the food like that. And just because I could feel so much of the negative charge that it had to process that food, and then for me to bring almost like a positive effect or charge, you know, to that, it was so emotional. Like I was tapping into that emotional, you know, connection to it, and I would just be breaking down, you know, in the middle of working. And even though in the back of my mind I knew I did not want to be there, and this is not what I wanted to be doing, taking action on and stuff, it was my ego saying that this was the correct thing to be doing right now. This is the psychological, this makes sense, you know, and this all adds up, you know, left brain stuff. But once I started tapping into that positive to defect the negative, if I'm using that right, then I was trying to create balance, but there was such a push to my pull, you know, or a pull
Yeah.
to my push. And that's where that stirred up for me. And just, you know, this is all in sync with everything that I've been experiencing, especially lately, but more consciously and more clearly. But yeah, I'm forever grateful for this and you guys.
So you've been quite tormented. You've been torn in the mind between your emotions and your left brain egotistical thought processes.
And yeah, and that brings us back to our discussion that we had before this about returning to returning to traveling to tree, you know, traveling to femininity, to, you know, to her. And yeah, this all in sync.
There is only one place for, you know, beings who have this vibration. And, you know, for example, if you understand the magnetism and you're using a stainless steel knife to chop and prepare your food, well, every time you put that you know, it's a magnetic metal, yeah? So this is why precious metals are non-magnetic. You're just and reversing the charge of that fruit and vegetable every single time you put a cut through it. So it, in a sense, unless you put that right with your emotion, you're not going to be eating the food even in the right state. So we all really this is why it's so important that we all need to get together, because we should be getting the fruit and ripping it with the hands rather than the knives, because the hands have a positive and negative pull within, and it's giving it a neutral charge process while you're dealing with these things. Again, even just putting your beautiful lettuce in a metal bowl will just completely destroy the charge.
Or even if we're talking about glass, it's almost like processed rock, processed stone, or, you know, processed glass, you know, heated up, discharged, and, you know, So
this is where the fields come into play. And I'd say you're very young to be having these thought processes, which is amazing, brother. So be very proud of where you're at in your journey. Very proud. But just try to take action so you don't get depressed, you know. And you know, you've got beings now that you can reach out to, and you can fundamentally take steps to be somewhere next year. But what you don't need to do is focus where you are now, because that's only going to create you in the same place. So if you focus on where you want to be and align with this, our consciousness is taking these steps to make sure we're here.
Yeah, and grounding.
You'll become super.
So essential. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good work, brother.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Martin, did you have something? Yeah, I think we both heard him give it.
Yeah. I think you guys covered most of the bases there, and it's really well put. You know, this journey of enlightenment and awakening and ascension can go as deep and as far as we are prepared to go.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people will listen to this and might be overwhelmed and think, "Oh my goodness, this sounds just too extreme for me. You've gone too far." But it's not about preaching and saying everyone needs to be doing this and everyone needs to be doing that. It's about you taking what is resonating from this and being honest with yourself and saying, where am I on that scale? And how can I improve from where I am? My favorite quote or my favorite saying in the whole world is, may I have the strength to change the things that I can, the courage to change the things that I can, the strength to accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Very, very important. So there are things that, if you're listening, there are things that we can change right now. You listen to this and you'll think, do you know what? That doesn't serve purpose in my life. I could stop that right now and replace it with this. I could do that right now. So that is something you can change straight away. And then there are certain things you will think, well, I don't think I can change that because my circumstances aren't correct for me to stop doing this right now. Because sometimes stopping something and starting something can be quite chaotic if you're not prepared for it. And this is when people backslide and go back, and you keep trying and you keep failing. It's because you are resisting, you're going against the current.
You're going from the first step to the fifth step and you're sliding back down.
So small steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. For instance, you know, and I found myself doing the same thing with Josh when I was a Josh, to be honest with you. And in the end, I had to be honest with myself and I had to be honest with Josh. Because what happened is I was trying to keep up with what Josh is doing. You know, Josh is so far ahead, you know, and I was trying to keep up with that. And because I was trying to keep up with that, it was creating turmoil within me. Because every time I backslid or every time I didn't feel good about doing something because I wasn't ready for it, right, it created a chaos within me. So I had to be honest and say, look, I'm going to be honest here. I'm not yet ready to take this particular step. I'm not yet ready to take this particular step. I'm not yet ready to give up potatoes. I still want to eat potatoes. I'm not yet quite at the stage of, you know, going completely fully electric raw, right? I'm going to have a bit of cooked meals here and there. But then there are certain lines that I won't cross because I've passed that threshold. You know, there's certain things, many things I will not touch ever again. Bread, for instance, you know, it's just something I won't even think about, which was a very, very hard milestone for me. But I've now crossed that bridge, but I needed to be ready to cross that bridge before I could give that up.
Empowerment.
So it's all about being honest with yourself. And, you know, there is no right or wrong ultimately. If we're now looking at the grand picture, there's no right or wrong way of doing anything. There is only your right and your wrong, because your intent always outtrumps everything. The problem becomes when you are able to do something or when you have the capacity to do something and you ignore it. That is when the problem is. So for instance, water,
yeah.
if you now know I should be drinking beautiful, fresh distilled water, and you've got extra money at the end of the month, and instead of buying a distiller, you buy a nice pair of trainers, you've committed a sin. Because that is something you could have done.
Yeah.
Right? But if you can't afford a distiller and you carry on drinking tap water, then you can't be punished for that because you cannot change that circumstance. So whatever reality or realm you're in, your higher self, God, the spirit, whatever it is, will understand that you did not have the strength or the power or the resources to change that particular thing, even though your intent was there.
Mm-hmm. It will
Right?
eat you alive if you don't and you can. And that's where it plays, isn't it, Martin? You know, it's yourself with your thoughts creating an ill environment within because you know that you should have done better by your conscious perception. Would you say
Absolutely.
that's right?
Yeah, yeah. And you do it sometimes. And I remember when I was transitioning, I'd walk into a supermarket, and the biggest battle for me, and I think for most people, is laziness, convenience. And we mask it with fear. Oh, I don't know how to cook. Oh, I don't know how to eat. I don't know. No, it's not that you don't know. You're too lazy to even try. It's easier to walk in and grab a sandwich that's packaged and made up for you than for you to say, you know what, I'm going to pick up an avocado today, and I'm going to pick up some a bit of broccoli, a bit of mango. I'm going to chop it all up, make a salad, some nice pink Himalayan salt, and I'm going to have that for my lunch. Because that takes effort. That takes effort. So I remember when I was transitioning, a lot of it was convenience and laziness. And because of that, I would end up being in a depressive state because I knew I've eaten wrong, not because I had no choice, but because I was just lazy or I couldn't be bothered.
And nothing else but you eats you alive, you know, your thoughts. This is where it is your universe in the multiverse. And these virtues and these actions and karma create an unnatural balance of, let's say, water within your body, which causes a reverberation across your field, which makes you have a bad charge. And this feeling you're getting is because you didn't take action through the virtues because of your inner standing and your progression. And this is depression. And there is something called, you know, like, for example, like we were saying about the steps, Jacob's ladder, you know, 7 steps. Ladder is El Adder. Yeah, you add these steps to become God, just as in learning is El Earn. You climb up these steps. You cannot pretend to be God yourself if you can't be in control of your thoughts. How could you master your realm? So when you can control yourself, this is when the steps need to happen and you progress. Like 10 years ago, I could have never imagined spending 1.5 hours prepping food. Because I'm in the matrix, I wash it twice. I wash it with salt, lemon, bicarb. Every single piece of lettuce is scrubbed twice with my hands. And my salads contain, you know, very, very high electric foods. And I take my time. And every every single time I rub or clean, or there's a thought process going into the food. Now, that for me is my lifestyle in this moment in time. And I make the best of these things because I know what it does for my body and my family. There's nothing else out here in the matrix that has anything to offer us for enlightenment at this, or say for me at this stage. I know the only thing that's going to increase my vibration is getting myself to land with thousands of fruit trees, taking the fruit from the tree, eating it individually till I feel full up, you know, washing in natural waterfalls, cleansing oneself spiritually that way, connecting with the earth, doing real science, which is seance, which is sentences. You've sent an aunt from the science, from the seance, and these things can create a more heightened experience for me for my next stage. Now, I could have never imagined doing that. My mind was running, my thought processes was running way too fast to be able to be still and, you know, and spend the 1.5 hours prepping food. But it does come in time. So you just stick at it and grow slowly. And, you know, you've got the people around you now that can help you in any way, shape or form. And like I wrote a recipe book a while back. So if anybody needs any help, I might even try and put it on a PDF form and maybe like charge £1 for it or something for this journey, because it'll be good because I still go around helping heal people. But yeah, so I've got like 35 recipes in there, maybe 40, and they're transitioning recipes. So for somebody that's having a normal diet, maybe like just a vegan diet, to a whole food cooking diet where we've exchanged absolutely anything of an unnatural state, or we call it like Babylon food. And you can create every single recipe, you know, like a nice curry or a shepherd's pie or a spaghetti bolognese, and we can do it through plants. And you've had a few of these, Brother Martin, haven't you?
I have. Yep. Yep.
And the
Amazing.
flavors are like Michelin star chefs. So I've never met a Michelin star chef myself and chatted to him, but I've eaten the food a long time ago, and this food is better than what you get in these restaurants. So, you know, they must be using proper ingredients for a start. But once you do this, this will then bring something within you. Because I will tell you, my mother, yeah, she was 55 when she started her journey, and it took her 6 months of plant-based cooking to have the feeling that she didn't want to cook the food anymore, because she said, I don't want to cook this beautiful food anymore. It seems so sad to cook this food, because now she's got a connection with the food through the changes of lifestyle, and now her perception's growing. And then it's just a matter of time. As long as you act virtuously, you'll always progress. Always.
Yep. 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 And I think a big point to make, a big, huge point to make is this matrix is there to distract us and to hold us back from progressing, from moving forward. Right? So all of these things are not possible if you are stuck in left brain activity, in the matrix, in a job, you work hard. I know it's difficult. By the time you get home, I don't have the energy all the time to start chopping up vegetables and looking up recipes and trying up things and doing all these things. It's just easier for me to do what I know or what I'm comfortable with, because it's easier. And that is what the matrix is there to do. It's there to distract you and do that. And all you're doing is you're condemning yourself back into this cycle over and over and over again, until eventually, in whatever lifetime, which I think for us is this lifetime, you go, enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not sacrificing myself anymore. I'm now going to take virtuous action to remove this karmic debt that I keep putting on myself. But that takes time, it takes planning, it takes effort. Trust me, it is not easy. You know, we're on the road, we're doing this, and it's still hard work to eat the way that we eat. It's hard work finding food. You know, the last couple of days, we've been away from markets. We're used to buying cheap food in the markets because it's so expensive to eat this way. And we've really struggled because we're so used to eating well. But we know that the pain and the labor is worth what we're trying to achieve. And it could have been easier to just take shortcuts and go, do you know what? We'll just do this. We'll just eat this. We'll just buy a takeaway or just buy that. It's easy to do that. But like Josh is saying, within yourself, once you reach a certain threshold, your soul will not allow you to do it. So it's just about taking that step and your soul will catch up. You know, once you start breaking down those barriers of the program, eventually your spirit or your soul will get to a stage where it will no longer take anymore. Same thing with the flat earth, same thing. You know, you get to a stage when you start awakening the first time, you're toying around with the idea that it might be a ball still, it might be flat, and you'll even defend both. And then you hit the stage where you're like, it is not a spinning ball. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not going back. I cannot, your soul will not allow you to believe that you're a monkey person spinning on a ball. Your soul just won't allow you to go back there. It's exactly the same thing with all these things, but it takes the action of you actually trying to do something and saying, right, it might be a thing of saying from tomorrow onwards, breakfast and lunch, I'm going to make it a point I'm eating raw fruit, or I'm eating fruit and veg. I'm not eating any meat and any dairy at all. And then at night, I might cheat with something for now. Right? At night, if I'm going to have a meal with, you know, that I shouldn't be eating because you're in that routine, be honest with yourself and say, I'm going to do that for now. And I guarantee you, after a good week or two, your soul will eventually say, I can't even do those evening flesh meals anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And then eventually the transition will just become easier because your soul will just then take over, override and go, wow, I feel amazing when I'm eating the fruits in the morning and in the evening, when I'm eating plant-based food. It doesn't have to just be fruit, even if it's cooked. I feel amazing. Your soul will just override and everything will just fall into place eventually.
You just get more light and enough light to just show you the way.
Yes.
Because food is light in form. The sun is projecting all of that nutrients within the food, which is light, is given as light, which is creating the fruit. You eat the fruit, which is your amino acids, which is your coding of light. So light is information, photons are information. This food is forming within information.
And I just want to, I don't know how long we've been going for, but I think a very important bit of it is that, you know, I personally believe, not I believe, I know for a fact that we're approaching something humongous, something big is about to happen. I think most of us can agree on this. You know, there's this thing we're calling this event of some sort that is going to happen. And I believe there is an essential process to this as well. Now, for me personally, you know, I want to see this event through in a beautiful way, in a beautiful light. If I'm meant to be moving on to something better, the next classroom of this game, in this place we call it the Garden of Eden, which is just another stage of the game, I would like to experience this experience of going through that. Now, I know, and I'm telling you right now, no matter how spiritual you are, no matter how loving you are, no matter how much truth you have or how much truth you know or how much truth you're sharing, if you have not taken the virtuous action and your body, your physical being is not prepared, right, that whole process is not going to be as enjoyable for you as it could have been. That's what I'm going to say. So this is not a fear campaign, but what I am saying is, you know, this is a cleansing. It's the same thing like having a cold. You know, during flu season, if you are unhealthy and flu season comes along, you will catch the worst cold ever.
Actually,
it's
you
just
will
nature because you're purging.
Yes.
So this event that's coming is meant to be purging the earth, is meant to be cleansing the earth. So if your body is holding toxins, especially heavily bad energetic toxins, like eating the flesh of other beings, I mean, that is the worst energy toxin you can have. When that wave comes and it tries to detox you, it's going to be extremely painful.
You can't catch a cold. You can't catch a cold. It just purges from within.
Absolutely. So the more we detox now and do the work now and put in the effort now, when these things happen, and I'm not saying they're going to happen, I don't know when, I think next year or the year after, whenever they happen, when they happen, at least you're in the best place, or at least you are detoxed as best as you can. We can't all be completely pure, but as best as you can, then that transitional process will be a lot easier on your physical being. You know, yeah, it will just be a lot easier.
Be a big
so
cold
really
if you
important.
don't. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Martin. You know, I used to obviously think a long time ago that colds, you could catch them. Obviously, being able to experience it in a higher consciousness, I know that colds you can't catch a cold. It's just the you know, the certain planets allowing people to purge. They're all aligned in a certain way, and this is why people think it's a season and everybody just gets it. Well, it's not. It's a certain frequency sent here to cleanse us all.
Mm-hmm.
And if this frequency that's going to be changing, one, you might not be receptive to it, so you might miss the boat. And two, if obviously this is speculation, but you know, that purge that you get when you have a cold is quite bad for some people, you know, depending on the level of toxicity within the body. But you know, I don't get them, and I haven't had them for years, because I'm eating a certain way and I'm not putting toxins into my body. But essentially, if these magnetic, you know, the planets align in such a way that we're going to purge something quite heavily, then you know, the cleaner we are, the less purging we have to do. And it's important, you know, because this is what's going to heighten us to the next experience here. So progression.
Yeah, and we've been warned as well. You know, there's a season and a time for everything in the universe. So, for instance, I genuinely believe, okay, this is a belief, I genuinely believe that there were times and ages in the past where eating flesh was not as bad as it is now, because we were in a very dark, fallen state of being. And I've talked about this in past presentations,
But not
where we were
500 years ago, a long time ago.
A long time ago, whenever it was. But there are ages where certain things are allowed. In the same way, right now we're allowed to eat plants, but there will be a time where even eating plants will be an absolute no-no. Like you can't even eat a plant. But we're not yet there. So the earth tells us. You can tell by for instance, cancer. All of a sudden, cancer, you know, when our parents were young, cancer wasn't a big thing, not as big as it is now. But they ate meat. Our grandparents ate meat, but they didn't have the cancers we have today. Now, I think that a lot of it is to do with the frequency has changed within this realm, right? The universe is now saying, hey, you're old enough to now start growing up. You cannot do this anymore. You need to stop. You need to slowly start weaning yourself off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the pressure. And those of you who continue to eat meat and don't pick up these signs, I'm going to give you diseases like cancer and acid, and these things will manifest quicker and stronger than ever before.
As there's more information here, there's more distraction and there's more illusions. So I'd say I see that very similar, but I see as the matrix progresses in his you know, difficulty levels, let's say, the more information that's out here, the more disinformation that's out here. So the more ability you have to find yourself, the more ability there is to lose yourself. So it's just a relationship like that. Before, you know, the food that was there, it was meat, and that meat was the matrix distraction because there was not much information out there, just books and things like this. But now as the matrix progresses and we have the ability with all the information at our fingertips, with all this information at our fingertips, that's where you get lost, you know, because that food that you're eating in the matrix, now industry has become such a big state, there's so many more poisons out there, and in that cycle of matrixness, those poisons are put back into the food. Now if you look on the back of an ingredient nowadays, you'll see things that you can't even say, and these are just chemicals like fluoride that's come from aluminium phosphate smelting, and then they're put into the water system, and now these things from the industry are put into the food and they're recycled through your kidneys and your liver. And this is where the disease is coming from, because there's so much more information out there to acquire the knowledge, but again, there's so much more disinformation and so much more bad food. But again, this is a heightened awareness experience in this age, and this is why there's all those distractions out there. So it's a similar outlook, but I just see it as the more difficult the matrix has got, you know, the more easier and the more difficult it is to find yourself and get lost. This is why 9/11 programs are out there.
Beautiful. Anyone else have questions or want to add anything?
I have a few questions. Well, first of all, Josh, you said something about a recipe book.
Yes.
Are you is there a way I can like purchase a recipe book from you?
Yeah,
Or
man. Well, I'll just if you just get an email address after, we'll send you some recipes down. If you're really interested in getting it done, I can just forward you them for now. If I get them in a PDF format soon, I'll just put them as a link on. We can put them as a link on your channel or something, Martin. Maybe have a
Yeah.
pound, just to help us on the help us help other people. But yeah, definitely, brother. I've got all the recipes from plant-based cooking to raw to juices to smoothies to all these types of foods. So you're welcome for them. You're welcome to them.
that'll be really nice. And another thing is, so here on the Western world, personal hygiene is like very commercialized and big, and there are a lot of companies that are making like non-fluoride toothpaste and things like that, like not having too many chemicals in the product. But I was just gonna ask you guys if you guys use anything like that, or if you make your own, or anything like that.
So you don't really need to be cleaning your teeth too much if you eat natural foods.
Right.
The only things that harm your teeth are the convenience foods out there with the chemicals. If you've got these chemicals in concentration, they just eat through a wall. But I tested my teeth for 9 months, 9 months or 9 moon cycles, and I didn't clean my teeth for 9 months, and I was swilling orange juice in my teeth before I was going to bed. All day I was testing these things, and I will say after 9 months of no cleaning teeth, there was nothing. They were perfectly fine. Everybody thinks I have my teeth whitened. So you don't need to clean your teeth for one. You do when you're dealing with Matrix Babylon foods. I would use to clean my teeth bicarb and lemon, maybe once a strong, and just bicarb and water for the other days if you want to do it daily. So yeah, you don't really need anything like salt. Charcoal's good for it. I personally wouldn't trust anything that was done for me, because the part of this journey is about doing things for yourself. So there's always a trap. Even if they say it's healthy and it's natural, even aluminium's natural, but that can be put in your toothpaste, mate.
Yeah, like, yeah, I was, oh shoot, I just forgot it. Sorry.
Yeah. I'll just add by saying, yeah, it's the same. That was a big transition for me and the family. So, see, my teeth, I just brush them dry, just with the toothbrush. I don't even put salt or anything at all.
Okay.
And they're super, super white. And that's because I'm eating right. So, my teeth in the morning, dry toothbrush, just a bit of water. I just clean out any fruit or whatever is left over, if there is any, and that's it. And rinse my mouth, done. What I learned as well from Josh is the best analogy for me in terms of hygiene and chemicals. If you've got a flower or a plant, if there's a chemical in your home that you wouldn't water your flower with or your plant, why would you put that on your body?
Right.
Why would you have that in your house? Why would you have washing up liquid? Would you put washing up liquid in a flower?
No.
So why would you put that anywhere near your mouth or your body or anything associated with yourself? If you know that that thing is dangerous for a flower, how can it be healthy for you?
Innately, it is.
Right? So all these chemicals, we don't need any. We have no chemicals whatsoever in our home at all. The only things that we use for almost everything are lemon and bicarb. We do our washing with lemon and bicarb. We wash our bodies with lemon and bicarb. We disinfect with lemon and bicarb. And then if we need anything fragrant, then we buy organic essential oils and just add it to the bicarb and lemon. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
When you eat this, you don't smell either.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was about to say. I went vegan for 6 months, a year and a half ago, and I realized I didn't need anything to make me smell all right, you know, being in the Matrix or anything, because I wasn't smelling bad at all. So, yeah.
All that
I just
toxic
wanted to have your insight on. Yeah.
So salts are really good to have
Yes,
baths with, if you can have baths as well, because they cleanse the body. Obviously, again, though, when depending on how conscious you are, you don't really want to bathe in, you know, local government water either.
right.
So it's
But
about
salt,
getting off nature.
yeah. Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we've been parked. We're on the road, obviously, and we've been parked. We've been living around a lot of the beaches and coasts. So I haven't had a bath in about 2 weeks now, and all I do is just swim in the sea. And I'm fresh, I'm clean, I don't smell, nothing, and I don't need to put anything to. I'm clean, and all I have is just seawater. That's what I'm not even rinsing that seawater off a lot of the time.
Well, you taste like seawater when you sweat, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
And
yeah.
salt is what? SALT, the sine wave of all the physical.
say that one more time.
SALT, the sine wave of all the physical. Salt carries our sine wave, and this is why you put it in the veins intravenously when people are ill. Saline solutions, you know. Salt carries our bioelectromagnetic charge, and this is why we have enough of it within. And a lot of people think salt's bad, but salt's not bad for you. The only salt that is bad for you is table salt, because it contains 1/3 glass, 1/3 sand, 1/3 salt, and this scratches the arteries inside when it breaks the blood barrier, and then causes cholesterol to build up, which tightens the arteries and causes high blood pressure. But you don't need high blood pressure tablets or statins and things like this, because cholesterol is the most important thing in your body, and it rebuilds every single cell. So the first thing that comes to your body is cholesterol to rebuild cells, and this is why when your arteries get scratched, the cholesterol goes there to save your life, because you would bleed internally without it. So we just got to be aware of what we're putting in our bodies, man. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, guys. I think we covered a lot of ground there. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
Is there anybody wants to talk about like medication or real what we should be eating, or are we just leaving it loose there?
Or anything? Carol, you want to say something? Sorry, I'll just unmute you. Sorry, Carol. Just give me a second. Yep.
Hey, Carol.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Josh, and everyone. I also would be very interested in any recipes or anything that you have, Josh. I'm just starting out on this journey and becoming really aware, thanks in part to Martin. And I think what you said today is so very interesting, and will make the path clearer for me. I think that if I could get a copy of whatever you have to share, I would be extremely grateful.
No problem.
And if you can let us know how to do that, that would be great.
Absolutely no problem. It is a pleasure to be able to help people that want help. And when you get
so much.
you just want to drop your fruit to share it, you know?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting what you've said about brushing your teeth and using all of the pharmaceutical soap and everything that's out there. I love the way you can go bathing in the ocean, Martin. God, I would love to be able to do that. I don't live near the ocean, but yeah, that sounds really good. And yeah, some people I know, in fact, my ex-husband used to shower every single morning. He just had to do and wash his hair. And I would wash my hair maybe a couple of times a month. And he used to say to me, why doesn't your hair ever get dirty? Like, you don't wash your hair every day. And it's because you wash away all of the natural oils and things, I believe. And but anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. But I guess I'd be very grateful for whatever you have to share, Josh. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Definitely, no problem for that. And even for the hair, you know, lemon and bicarb, if you just brush bicarb into the hair,
yeah,
and you juice some lemons and you put that into your hair and let it soak. It fizzes up, it gives it a good clean. You leave it for about 5 minutes. You wash it out properly, and I can tell you now, my partner, you don't need to wash your hair. Well, you don't need to wash your hair really, but 6 weeks, there's still no sign of grease.
Yes, yes, I agree 100%.
No sign at all. Still looking.
But if you said that to somebody who uses all the pharmaceuticals, they would actually be rolling on the floor laughing at you, because yeah, I mean, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Like Martin says, we're all in our own place where we need to be, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm moving forward, and I am grateful to be here today, and yeah, thank you.
No problem. Because a lot of people don't look at anything, you know, that they consume or get, because they naturally have a trust relationship with the marketing.
Yeah.
But on the bottle of liquid soap, we'll call it, the green stuff that makes a lot of foam and people use it for bubbles, it says that it's harmful to aquatic life with irreversible effects.
Yeah.
So if it's harmful to aquatic life with irreversible effects, why would you put it down in your sink? Most people think it goes into the oceans, but it really just gets recycled and back into your bodies. This is the trick of the trap of the matrix. But one is going on your food, one is going on your body. Like 2 years ago, I transitioned. No, so 3 years ago, I transitioned, and I went to Spain and grew all my fruit and planted 150 fruit trees and grounded every day. It was the most amazing experience for me. But when I come back to help my family, because there was about 3 or 4 of them had cancer and quite a few problems, we healed them all within 6 weeks, 100% success rate, and then we started our journey from there. But my brother done me some food that was purely plant-based, and it was just on his plate with his knife and fork, and it just tasted like fairy liquid. Just like fairy liquid. And there was no, it was a standard, you know, a standard wash off and all those things, and I couldn't eat it because all I could taste was fairy liquid. So I become so desensitized to it before that I couldn't taste it. But now the senses are heightened. You can really detect poisons like an animal, you know.
The other thing, sorry.
Go on.
I just wanted to say that included, if you can include how you wash your vegetables. I was listening to what you said about using the bicarb, the lemon, and scrubbing each leaf. I really like the sound of that, and if that would be in one of your recipes, I'd be eternally grateful. And I just wanted to also say, I wonder how many people really know that if you pick up any toothpaste tube in any market, it says, if you swallow any of this toothpaste, call a poison control center. And I mean, if that's not a big red flag, I don't know what is. And I actually said that the last time I visited a dentist. I said, but if she was going to give me like I went for a cleaning, which I am kind of rethinking now after listening to this today. And I said, I just kind of pointed out about the poison thing on the back of the toothpaste, and she seemed surprised, like she'd never, and somebody that works there, never ever heard of that before. Anyway, it's interesting.
It's definitely the case. If you're looking to whiten your teeth, I'd say get yourself a nice big organic bicarb. Yeah, because obviously sometimes they can, you know, hide things, but find the purest bicarb you can get, and then hook your toothbrush in it, and then dip it straight into lemon juice, and then put it straight in your mouth, and it'll fizz up in your mouth, and just brush that for maybe 7 days to 14 days, and the color of your teeth transition will be incredible just after 14 days of lemon and bicarb, and that is the best tooth whitener you can use.
Well, you know, I do. That's what I've been brushing my teeth with bicarb for years now. And I appreciate that I should add some lemon juice and dip it in. That seems like a great idea because I use lemon juice for a lot of things. So. Yeah,
and it's a really invigorating experience as well as it foams up in the mouth, you know. But it's really good for tooth whitening. And don't worry about people saying you might lose your enamel, because that just.
Oh, I know that I've actually had dentists say to me, no, don't drink lemon juice and don't put it in your mouth, and don't eat apples because the acid is very bad for your teeth.
Yeah. No, I know these healthcare professionals, but again, you go to a diabetic nurse because you don't know how to eat, because diabetes translates as through idiocy. So if you look at the Latin terminology from dia means through, betes means idiocy. So you've got diabetic through being an idiot because you don't know how to eat, and that's what it means.
And there's so many people with diabetes these days.
Yep, you can get diabetes from a microwave, you know.
I
Microwave.
believe.
Yeah, you definitely can. It agitates the particles to such a rate the body can't use it. It needs to put insulin out there to try to convert it, and then the insulin just becomes so overused, and then your body can't produce it no more.
Yes, absolutely. I actually gave the first time I read about the truth about microwaves, I had one of the best microwaves on the market, and I gave it away the next day. And about 2 weeks after that, that was when I gave away my television.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, good work, because these microwaves, they put you at risk of like 200 milligauss of radiation. You're a foot away, and I think 3 to 4 milligauss of radiation is linked to leukemia. If you put your coffee in a microwave and you go to the doctors within like half hour to get blood tests, it'll actually show that you've got leukemia in the blood because of the radiation from the coffee. Wow. So there's a lot of people getting misdiagnosed for leukemia because they're using the microwave for their food and their coffees before they go into the doctors, and the treatment is what essentially kills everybody, you know.
Yes, absolutely. I know somebody who does not boil water in a tea kettle or on a stove for tea. They put it in the microwave, tap water in the microwave to heat it up for tea. Anyway, there are so many stories like that. It's so interesting to listen to all this. If only everybody would talk like this. But
it's incredible. So the basics of really, like, you know, stay away from the pharmaceuticals. A lot of people are on these days as well, aren't they? You know, the cholesterol blockers, the enzyme that the liver, you know, and like I said, this is the only thing that every cell is made from. Cholesterol is the most important thing in your body. Obviously not your heart, your brain, these nervous system, things like this, but this cholesterol is what forms it from. And when we block these things, it's just a matter of time before your avatar will degrade, things will stop repairing and healing, and you know, you'll end up just going to the ground after a certain amount of time. And it's very important that, you know, cholesterol is in.
And a lot of time, I mean, a lot of people go to the doctor, and one of the very first things they say is, "Oh, your cholesterol's too high."
Yes.
I mean, I've had them say that to me, and it didn't even go in my ear. It didn't sound right, you know.
No, nobody in the world has ever died of high cholesterol.
Sorry?
Nobody in the world has ever died of high cholesterol.
Exactly.
And cholesterol, the LDL and the HDL cholesterol, they're not bad and good. They're just lipid proteins which carry cholesterol to the cells. So they're just cell carriers. They're not even cholesterol themselves. This is again what they've taught in mainstream science, that one's good and one's bad, and you should have the good one and not the bad one. But that's just disinformation again. Cholesterol is important. LDL, HDL are lipid proteins which carry cholesterol to cells. That's it.
Wow, it's amazing how many people die just from having contact with doctors. You know, I've had some health problems all my life caused by doctors that I went to when I was very young. And I gave up on them about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't go to them anymore. I'd rather just die.
Yeah, and again, you don't actually just die. You know, you've heard the stories of people having cancer for 10 years and then all of a sudden they drop dead.
Yeah.
But that's because you don't die from cancer. Cancer is just an immune system defense. And when your immune system can't handle the toxicity of your body, it passes it to these cancer cells. These cancer cells act like mushrooms in the woods, and they draw up all the poison to one point to save the body being so toxic. It's just a defense mechanism. And then these doctors that know nothing, they prod it, they try and burst it back into the body to cause problems again. And in the same time, the medication and the treatment kills you because of your lack of virtues and gnosis, and this is ready to recycle you back into the game, so then you can try and do it the next time. So, you know, we just got to gain control of ourselves.
And that's a good word. I love that word, treatment. When a doctor gives you treatment, all they're doing is treating your mind.
Yep.
Not your body. Your body's not being treated. Your mind has been treated.
Yep.
So you think you've been healed. You haven't. You haven't been helped. They've just treated your mind. It's just treatment. Treat the mind.
Yep.
Treat for the mind.
Yeah.
A treat for the left brain actions that, you know, that people need. They need it because they outsource again. Because most people, you know, fundamentally, the most important thing we should know is how to eat, yeah, which there's not a lot of people really know, because we got to go on the journey. My journey for foods, I started my food journey at 7 years old, and by the time I was 11, I knew every single thing in a whole supermarket, everything from the fat to the carbohydrates to all the ingredients, and that was when my journey really excelled, you know, and I really started well on this journey, you know, very aware.
Well, lucky for us that you started at 7.
Not lucky for my mum and dad though. They thought I was very strange.
Well, they were lucky too, actually.
Well, they are now. Yeah, they're all plant-based. My mum had cancer. My brother had cancer. My dad was diabetic at 25 years, and he had a 20% functioning liver and a 25% functioning kidneys. And I come back from Spain, and then within 6 weeks, my dad had 100% working liver and 100% working kidneys. He was no longer diabetic after being diabetic for 25 years on all the drugs, statins, insulin dependent, metformin, all these things. And my mum's cervical cancer was cured, reversed. My brother's basal cell carcinoma was cured and reversed. And my beautiful sister had chronic fatigue, and she's just been on such a journey of her own self-awakening. The food's taken her from somebody that used to take selfies of himself to within just 6 weeks transition into a plant-based diet. No more selfies, no more makeup, grounding every day, and just a beautiful, beautiful addition to this, you know, this world, just through plant-based living.
It's very important. It's so very important. I guess your parents rethought their journey with you when you were 7 and looked back on it and thought, wow, he was ahead of his time.
Now they do.
Yeah.
They're very proud of me now.
Yeah, when I met his parents, they were astounded. They were like, "We're blown away. We always thought he was weird and he was strange, and we just sort of tolerated it. But now we can't believe that he was right all along." So I can vouch for that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done, guys. I think we've covered lots of ground. Maybe we'll leave space for more in another hangout some other time. But I think we've.
Can I add one thing? Just some people might need this in their life.
Yeah.
So your body attains something called an endocannabinoid system. And this cannabinoid system regulates every single hormone function in the body. So it regulates homeostasis for you. So if you are unwell and you're looking for some sort of medication to help you along your way, then the best type of medication would be a full spectrum cannabis oil.
Ingest. I need to ask a question about that. Thanks for bringing it up. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
This is for you then. There we go.
I've just started to discover CBD, and just not long ago, and I find that there is a noticeable difference, but I don't know, like there's no one to turn to find out exactly what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing, so it's all experimentation. So if you have anything at all to offer in that respect, I would be grateful.
Yeah, so CBD is a good medication to have, but what CBD does, if you imagine a CBD, it goes past the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and these receptors have the cannabinoids within them. So it's kind of an activator, so it allows the cannabinoids to be released within the body. It's not actually something that does something for your body, CBD. This is why they're giving it to the mainstream quite rapidly now, because there's only a certain level it's going to help people. And this is why the full spectrum oil, like the THC, destroys cancer, it promotes cell apoptosis, and it's very incredible for the body. So the whole plant medicine is important. But again, the industry has bred certain strains to be higher in certain type of cannabinoids than they were naturally. So if we can go back to strains that have been here since, you know, the beginning, like the Kushes and the K2s come from the Kush mountains and the K2 mountains, and there's like a critical Bilbo from Spain, and this has come from a Spanish mountain. These are going to have a more have the ability to heal the body correctly, quicker. and create a perfect mind as well at the same time. So CBD will help you, but it's only going to help release the cannabinoids that are within. It's not going to top you up.
Well,
So,
if you could offer, I don't even know what to look for when I go in the store. There's just so much there. I don't know what to ask for. I don't know what to look for. And,
are you in America?
I'm in Canada.
Canada. So, all right, okay. Well, we can definitely help you, no problem there. But we've got a sort of a member on our family that reached out to us, Brother John, and he's been in the cannabis industry for a while and has got some amazing contacts. One of the oils that he actually has is a frequency enhanced nano-sized oil, and Nikola Tesla worked with his scientist granddad, and they've left this machine, this frequency enhancer machine. So I'll see if I can speak to him and see if we can get you some of that oil shipped up to you, because that's really, really, really awesome.
Oh, that would be just so terrific. Yeah.
Yes. And what we need to do is just align the systems within so they're functioning perfect. And then plant-based living will just put you back to such a higher function that you'll feel like you're 20 again, you know?
Yes, well, I'm a vegetarian. I'm ovo-lacto right now, but it feels okay. But I think I'm moving in the right direction. So
yeah. So do you have dairy, or what things do you still?
Yeah, so I still have dairy, and I have eggs occasionally, but I don't have a lot of dairy, but I do like ice cream.
So freeze some bananas up, blend some frozen bananas with some dates. If you want it to be chocolate flavor, you put cocoa powder in it, organic. If you want to grate some coconut in there to make it coconut flakes, you can really replicate the same flavors as Ben and Jerry's just through plant-based living. I've got these recipes in the book as well.
Oh, that would be so much appreciated.
Yeah, you don't need to and this isn't to you, this is for everybody listening. You don't need to rape a cow to have milk or to have anything that tastes beautiful. It's only going to harm us because of the fundamental laws of this universe. So milk and dairy, these things cause serious metabolic acidosis and deplete our bone minerals and cause us to have brittle bones so quickly, and just turn us into a acidic functioning beings. You know, batteries essentially can run alkaline or acidic, and we know acidic batteries don't last anywhere near as long as an alkaline battery. Same laws with us, really. So yeah, we'll get the recipes to you, and you'll see that this tastes better. You can eat this ice cream all day and lose weight and heal yourself. So if there's anybody addicted to food out there, this is the time to make the change, because the information's here for you. And
Thank you so much, Josh. I'm looking forward to your information.
If there's anybody on this chat right now who's willing to take maybe in a couple of strongs, maybe 2-3 strongs, when you get yourself mentally prepared to do a 6 to 8 week challenge, so then you can show other beings your transformation, that would be a great step to take, because not only have people seen you in the light now, they'll be able to see you after this transition. And I can honestly say on here that the transmutation and the transformation is incredible, just in that short amount of time for hyperfunctioning and supernatural abilities. So is there anybody willing to put their hand up and say, I'm willing to do it?
Well, that's something to think about. I always like to think about things for a while before I make a decision. But yes, I think the first step is to get the recipes and to, read them and become really comfortable. And then I'll get back to you. Brilliant.
I seen Kennedy put his hand up.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, brother?
No, not about this, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say that our plan has been, and if the universe allows us, I don't know how things are going to pan out, but if it's meant to be, before things set off, our plan was to get resources or get a space where we will be allowed to share all this stuff really easily. So we wanted to get some land and grow some fruit and vegetables and start up a 24-hour channel showing people how we live and how to live, how easy it is to live completely self-sufficient in that present, doing all those things. All these things we're talking about are so easy, but I know how overwhelming it is if you've not yet done them. Even something as simple as transitioning to just using bicarb and lemon. For us, it was a big psychological battle more than anything else. But once you see someone else doing it and you see how easy it is, then it's, you know, it's easier for you to make that transition. So this is what we're all trying to do right now. Us as a family, Josh, myself, John in America, we are working so hard to try and manifest this foundation, what we're calling a foundation, where we can get even just a piece of land and where we can grow food, where we can live together and show people the way. And it's really easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of money. It just takes a bit of resourcefulness and a bit of coming together. So if you guys know anyone out there who is willing to help out or who's got resources they can point our way or want to be involved, maybe you might be able to get involved. You know, let's do this. This is how we change the world. We've got to help ourselves. No one is going to come and do it for us. So we want to make recipe books and give them away for free. We want to start daily vlogs where we're showing people how to make food for free. We want to be growing fruit and vegetables, pure, not hybrids, but, you know, pure heirloom fruits and vegetables, and showing people how to do it and giving it away, and CBD and all this information. But we live in the matrix. Everything costs money. Everything costs time. So unfortunately, we can't help the people that we desperately want to help, because everyone should know this stuff. Everyone should.
Yes.
The best thing for us would be to find somewhere on this earth for now that we can grow food all year round. We can have we'd like imagine about 100 acres with waterfalls, lakes and springs, with forests and food forests. And we're not on about 10 papaya trees, 10 mango trees, 10 avocado trees, you know. We're looking at maybe, you know, 500 of each tree, so we can have food forests and be able to sustain anybody on this journey to come, stay as long as they wish, to learn, to grow, to understand, initiate themselves in higher consciousness, to bring the Kabbalah, the K-Abbabolla, to start acting karmically, or karma is the K-Armor that protects the K, which is the mind. And then we can practice the essential magic, understand the casting and the spell castings that have been put upon us, rise our vibrations, understand the third eye, the kundalini and the chakras, and then do this as a big family. You know, understand fire, the fire magic and the size to all the elements, and just learn and grow. And when everybody's ready to be able to transform and to be able to move from this masculine energy to the feminine energy, and to free ourselves from this, you know, this cycle of birth, death and life. And essentially that's my mission, you know, our mission, to be able to end this cycle and to enjoy it with the beings around us, essentially to help people for free for the rest of our lives until, you know, we're ready to make that transition and leave it back as a foundation.
Well, yeah. I'm in the right place, I think, right now. I'm so happy to hear all this. And yeah, even if each one of us, we move ahead like this, and then we can bring one person in or two people in, if we can change the world.
10 people who've got houses worth 400,000, that's 4 million. The land that we purchased with £1 million could be so huge, and the amount of trees that could be planted with 500,000, and now you're left with 3.5 million. You don't need money now. What do? This is where you're in a position to be able to make serious change across the world, you know, and the ideas are in place. We know what to do. It's just getting ourselves in that reality to then progress forward, to be able to help millions and millions of people, because millions and millions of people need guidance, because they are waking up, but unfortunately they're waking up to another set program, just like veganism.
Yeah, fantastic, guys, fantastic. And you know, again, seeing the bigger picture, you know, we're all here on different paths and on different journeys and stuff, and if anything, we might just be planting seeds for those who are staying behind when things happen. You know, for me personally, You know, I don't think I'm here for that in particular. I'm here to leave a message. I'm here to ascend myself and to change myself and show people the way through that. But if there are people out there who are watching this, even in the future, I'm not speaking to future people, you know, this is where the information is. This is how you do it, basically. Josh is giving you the blueprint, and we will continue to give you that blueprint. So even if we're not here, if things happen in the near future and we're not here, the blueprint has been left behind. So, you know, good news, win-win all the way. And if the event doesn't happen anytime soon, then we will fulfill that foundation and we will do it ourselves.
Right. Sorry to chime in like that, but coming from my perspective, being a younger generation, I'm viewing all of this in that sense. You know, I'm putting myself in your guys' shoes at the age that you guys are in, and I'm realizing that from now until the time I get there, things are going to be shifted like tremendously. They're going to be different, very, very different. And, you know, being a part of this it's almost like I can't comprehend it in a way because it's so right brain, you know, activity going on. But the way I perceive things is that the newer generations are coming in with a frequency, a program, a natural program that is in sync with the natural shift going on right now. And so I look at my nieces and my nephews, and you know, and what they will be like, what they will bring, and what they will be stepping into, what directions are they gonna what guidance are they gonna have, and what blueprints, like you just said, are they gonna be resourceful of, and you know, what they're gonna find and everything like that. And you know, before it used to scare me. It used to make me just want to run away and, you know, not face it and just ignore that message, that true message that, you know, just because I'm experiencing it now. I'm being raised in the matrix, and I'm seeing what is, you know, of natural law and what is artificial law, and I'm, you know, decoding these things, and it's scary. It's a lonely path and everything like that. But to see younger generations and just to have so much empathy for them, and that too have a chance, and they too have a journey. They also have a life experience. It's just before I used to look at it as at a fearful point of view, but now I'm looking at it as, you know, this is all divine. You know, us coming together, other people coming together with the same like message, with the same intention. It's all divine, and it's happening. And you know, I'm not led astray. You know, I'm not just thrown out. You know, the universe is just not throwing me out here saying, you know, find your way, and like you're alone. Like, and what I'm saying is I'm really saying that I didn't say that for myself. I didn't abandon myself. It was just a matter of me finding myself and remembering myself, and getting back to what is truly happening right now, and what truly needs to be done in order to align my frequency with the external world, with, you know, with the physical. And so yeah, this is mind-blowing, mind-boggling, you know, but at the same time it feels 100% right to me. It feels natural. Like, that's just the word I can say, is it just feels 100% natural. And yeah, but I know Jason wants to say some things, but yeah, I want to just leave off with something. Is I would love to have another discussion, mainly on etymology. I know that we dove into etymology a little bit, but mostly the health aspect of it all. But yeah, if we can like have another discussion on etymology and just breaking more things down in that way, it's just fascinating for me right now. And yeah, so That's what I just
I
wanted to
think
say.
me and Martin will get together and get a nice big whiteboard for you, so then we can
Yes.
do it that way, because the visuals I think are needed, because sometimes trying to perceive it in the mind as it's being said, it can get lost trying to see what that was being spoken of and then the next word's out. So yeah, to be honest, since I've done my video with Martin in October, we did 2 videos, didn't we, on Sun and Moon, to do with etymology, and we broke it down, because this was a sort of me deciphering language myself. It's not like a type of etymology that's been out there to learn. I've kind of seen through the wording. It's become complete to me now, so I kind of see it for exactly what I needed to see it as, so I'm ready to share it in a sense where I can break down anything from any word to anything to show it, you know, on a physical, metaphysical, unconscious, subconscious, conscious, reverse level. And yeah, so if me and Martin got together and we presented it in that way, and maybe just took Q&As again and just tried to help people see it, definitely, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Martin, I think you said this in the comments on Patreon. You know how I said about the presentation. It's crazy that you just mentioned that, Josh, because as I watched y'all, the etymology, the videos that y'all did on Sun and Moon, like something actually came to me like one night, and I just started writing things out, and it's crazy how the syncretism just hit. But I think we're gonna do that for another time, correct, Martin?
Yes,
Right.
definitely, definitely.
But I did have a question. Because like I said last chat that we had, I do have land out here in Louisiana, but I'm in an apartment now, but I do have, like, you know, potted plants and vegetables and stuff and fruit that you know, I'm new to growing stuff, so I'm experimenting. But I believe in those chats, like in Sun and the Moon, I think Josh, I believe you said that there's like a feed that will help, you know, plants flourish, and I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like with the pink Himalayan salt and the
Cucumber.
juice from cucumber, right? Yeah. Is that all that it was?
So if you look at the Himalayan salt, you've got 83 to 84 minerals in it. And the commercial food's only got 3, so naturally there you're better. If you want to correlate that with some science without being practical because you haven't done it yet, if you look into the goddess Happy, the Egyptians used to worship goddess Happy, and she used to flood the Nile every year with salt water, and this used to make the crops fertile and fruitful. So there's a little bit of ancient wisdom there for the people who have the eyes to see. But I would do, for example, maybe 2 to 3 cucumbers juiced, 4 apples juiced, Himalayan sea salt, Epsom salts, and date molasses, or like a soap, just soaked dates, you know, with the water there. Pour that in. That gives you a complete full spectrum feed, so you're getting the full 113 to 114 minerals. And the food that you will taste from that, brother, is nothing else. You would never have experienced flavors like these flavors that are coming from the fruits and vegetables. It's incredible. My plum tree, my plums were tasting like a mix between mangoes and papayas, just for a normal plum, you know.
Right.
It's the most incredible thing we can do. So this is where that's going to allow us to have higher DNA activation, higher thought processes, higher light within us, and obviously the flavors there for us to have a higher heightened experience of taste as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I was trying to remember everything you were saying from back then, but I couldn't.
Yeah, cucumber is the silica side of it as well, you know. Silica is very good for us, carries a lot of memory.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, guys, I think we'll round it off there. It has been a very, very enlightening chat. Oh, sorry. Carol, do you want to say something?
Kyle, did you have your hand up a minute ago, mate? Or?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I was just wondering about the 2 videos that were just mentioned that you were in with Martin, Josh. Are they available for us to watch? Or
the Sun and Moon's got took down a while back, the channel, but there was some great guy named Transform Yourself, and he's put them on his channel. And he's been sort of getting himself deep into the etymology himself. So hats off to him. Thank you for
Yes,
sharing.
I saw that
Okay.
he actually puts a lot of the breakdowns of everything in the comments too. So if you want to go look at that, he breaks down a lot of words and letters and a lot of what Josh and Martin explained. So you can look down in the comments because I actually screenshotted a lot of that so that it helps me learn with the etymology. But a lot of the breakdowns are in the comments as well.
That's in Transform Yourself
Yeah.
in YouTube.
Type in Josh X Martin Kenny, you'll find it. It should be like the first 3 or 4 things down. But it has grown since then to such a different level. But again, it's definitely worth watching because it will get you up to speed. But like the words now are instructions, and they tell you what to do. For example, I just want to give you an example. If you look at the word transformation, you see T, Ra, N, S, F, O, R, M, A, T, I, O, N, yeah? And that translates as a physical sun ends a sine wave for the mother's physical ions. And there's an instruction within that word that's telling you what you need to do for your transformation. And every single word can be broken down like this, forwards, backwards, intertwined, and it's an incredible deciphering of this language, just as east and west. West is the W established, and that's the duality in the Western world. And the east is ether as physical, E-A-S-T. As yourself is a sine wave of L in the F, which is the matter of physical. So the self is a sine wave of God in the physical, in matter. And this is how it's done it, and it explains it to you. So I want to get to that very soon, but yeah, definitely catch those 2 videos up. That'd be brilliant.
I'll look them up. Thank you.
And Kyle, mate, did you have something quickly?
Yes, I just had a question about it pertains to health and the doctors and all that stuff. My wife has very, very bad anxiety, and she takes medication for this. And she also has a thyroid problem. She also takes medication for that. And if she doesn't take these medicines, her energy is like all over the place. And with her anxiety, when one thing sets her off, maybe at the beginning of the day, it ruins her whole day. And I'm emotional sensitive. I'm a Sagittarius fire sign, and she's an Aries fire sign, and we get worked up so easily when our energies collide. And I just trying to figure out a way to like protect my energy from absorbing all of her energy when she's in these feelings all the time. I don't know where
plant-based diet. So the thyroid can be helped by Himalayan salt with the iodine.
Okay.
Do you what salt do you consume at the moment?
We have pink Himalayan sea salt at home.
Yeah.
And another type of sea salt, but it's not pink.
Celtic?
Yeah, it's probably just some regular type of stuff.
Okay, so the salt can help balance the thyroid, but unfortunately the thyroid is obviously regulated by the intake of food, and the hormones in the food, etc., is causing a massive imbalance, and then this is causing an imbalance within the mental state. So really it can be corrected very quickly, probably in 5 or 6 days if you just change the food. Depends on how far she is and how far she's willing to go. You can just correct things, with obviously balancing out these systems. So maybe a tincture of cannabis, full spectrum oil, and just putting a drop under her tongue, 1 drop. A tincture should have around about 240 drops in there. 1 drop 3 times a day, maybe 2 drops before she goes to bed for a better sleep. This will regulate the hormones within her body. I'm just making sure she's
sleep too. She sleeps like every night. I didn't get no sleep, but sleeps for like hours. But claims she didn't get any sleep or feels so tired.
So she's not really getting rest. But yeah, again, her hormones are all out of sync, brother. I can tell from just what you're saying. So really, she needs to get regulated.
Too. So I'm sure that has a big part in that too.
What, the medication?
The birth control?
Oh, birth control. Yes, mate. All of those things. Or we can remove these poisons by just forward planning and being virtuous. You know, there's only a certain amount of time that one can really get pregnant. And it's when we're ovulating, and they only ovulate really for, you know, 5 days or something like that. So
Right.
if we're just
I want her
careful
to be
around
on
those.
all medicines, because I take no medicines. I don't go to the doctor. I don't believe in any of it.
Yeah.
I believe in like natural healing and stuff like that. And she's getting there. It's taking her more time. And right now we're both bored with the foods we've been eating. We're ready to just discover something new, and it's really hard to discover like the food you guys are all talking about, because there's no recipes and don't know where to start. And we have kids, so it's hard to get them on the same page too, because they don't know. They only know what we teach them.
Yeah. You got to subtly do it with children, but then you've also got to try and make the things taste just like the other things, which is there and can be done. So again, I'll share that recipe book with you. So we'll just get in contact, and I'll share the recipes out with you guys, and then you can have some sort of testimonials on the flavors and things like this. But yeah, your partner's just got a hormone imbalance, and this is obviously through the food and things we ingest. The video that we just did on Sun and Moon with Sister Nikki, she had the same problem.
Yeah,
She couldn't have a period, you know.
Right,
but
you talked about in the beginning.
yeah, she was up and down, depressive all the time, and if you just listen to the video, she's the highest vibrational woman you'd ever hear. She's so happy and flamboyant, and she's a great testimony for it, because she couldn't get out of bed. She was sleeping 11 hours a day, she was saying, and taking a nap, and now she's sleeping on 5 or 6 hours, and she's so happy. She doesn't get depressed. She's not up and down.
5 hours, and I'm happy all the time.
Yep. And it's just food. It's a different vibrational human being. Right now, your wife's probably regulated on an acid battery, quick firing, quick to die down, and lazy, lethargic and tired. And then you transform to the alkaline side.
So she's getting into like fitness, and that's making her want to change her diet, because she wants to be a fitness trainer. Right now, that's like her path is calling her to do this or something. So, and I'm agreeing with her, because it's going to change her food diet, which eventually will help me change mine, because if we're both on the same page, it helps.
I used to be high level fitness. I was a personal trainer for a while, but I used to bodybuild and compete, and I've been through you know, I've been through a lot of people and helped them out get their fitness goals and their bodies to certain ways, and you wouldn't believe what you can do with, well, everything is food, mate. Absolutely everything is food. A bodybuilder who wants to be 20 stone and have 23-inch biceps will only get to there by eating 10 meals a day and having like 10,000 calories, you know.
Yeah,
people
like we're not trying to go overboard like with the fitness thing, because we both weigh around I weigh 120 and she weighs a little less than me, so we don't need to lose weight. We're just trying to like tone ourselves more, just build up the strength more and don't feel weak, because a lot of the foods we eat makes us feel weak. Like I can barely walk up the stairs without feeling it in my leg.
Lethargy. Do you have a lot of cooked food then right now, would you say?
Do
you have a lot of cooked food right now?
Yeah. My wife don't know nothing else but to like fry something on the stove, basically.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of wanting to change that, and we just need a little guidance. And what are the odds of the topic of today was about food? And I felt like it was meant to be. Like all this, like we've already been wanting to, and now hearing all this and hearing you guys talk about it, it just given me such more of a push to want to do it more. I see other people struggling too, and you just feel like you're the only one, but when you see and feel other people are going through the same thing, it makes it easier.
Definitely. And then this is like one of the main causes of becoming self-aware as well, because the media is obviously controlling our thoughts. Yeah. So
we don't watch live.
If you're not in control of what you're putting in your mouth, who is, right? And this is the other entity that's, you know, putting these thoughts into our head. So once we gain control and mastery over ourselves, there's really nothing stopping us. So all I say is, you know, good luck. We're here to support you on it. And when you're ready to change, just reach out, and we're going to give you everything you need.
I'm ready to change here real soon. I'm like really ready for it. I was ready. I was awakened to like back in 2010 to people that talk similar to everything that Martin talks about and what you're talking about in food. And then I met my wife in 2012, and I sustained a foot injury, which put me into like a depression because I wasn't mobile. I couldn't do anything. So I was already on the change of my diet. And then I met my wife, and she wasn't. She's just like just a normal, ordinary person. And my diet slacked off and fell all the way off. And I now met Martin now, and I just felt like it woke me back to where I was over 10 years ago. Like I was on the path going the right way, and then I sustained a foot injury that set me so far back.
Mhm.
And meeting Martin now has sparked a fire in me that I don't want to go back. I don't want to go backwards no more.
Good work,
I'm ready.
mate. Good
I'm
work.
ready for
So remember as well, one thing just before this is finished: supplements, protein powders, multivitamins, all of these things serve no purpose to your body.
yeah.
Multivitamins just show up in blood tests. They're not bioavailable to the body. They just cause metabolic acidosis, but they show up in a blood test. Don't take these things. Protein, if people think they're going to gain some sort of muscle from a protein powder, let me tell you, if you put that powder in your hand and you look at it as dead, non-vibrational powder, and then you put
Yep.
water with it and you expect it to make your muscles grow. If you look at a chimpanzee, if you look at a gorilla, if you look at a rhino, if you look at an elephant, if you look at a giraffe, they eat plant-based. They're the biggest animals
Yep.
here. Just got to know how
biggest
much you're supposed to be
Plants
eating.
are the strongest animal eats plant.
Of course, of course. And you just need to eat a certain amount because they're in and out your body very quickly. So when you understand that fruits at your body within 2 hours, vegetables within 4 to 5, cooked food 7 to 8, meat 2 to 3 days.
Really that way though. Like when you eat cooked food, it takes a long time for it to get out of your system. But my wife eats a lot of fruit at night, and then in the morning she passes it all. Like before she goes to bed, she eats a lot of fruit.
Yeah. So those digestive enzymes are all being cooked out. That's why it takes a long time to pass through. So not only is it passing through the body, it's taking your energy. So it's causing lethargy, and obviously your chi or your prana is being withdrawn from you. So this is why it's so important to eat the alive foods, man, because none of that happens, and it's all got the things inside the enzymes it should have for you to eat. Being again inconvenience, the food that we're eating is not ripe. It doesn't taste nice. We've got to wait for it. We're eating it unripe. We need to get ourselves back to the garden, or back to a garden, or back to a common unity in a community where we can all just harvest, eat, learn, grow, and be together. Because in numbers, together, to get her, we can do this. And that's all it's about, is just finding your vibration, acquiring some place together on this land, and then moving forward as your journey with the likened kin around you, and that is the journey.
All
So
this feels so good.
awaken oneself to be able to leave this body at will and go to the other realm, access another avatar, and when you're ready to leave this one, you can leave it behind. And this is the journey of ourselves. We have the ability. It's been left there for a long time. This is mysticism. This is true magic. Magic is the mother god I see. The true science is seance, and it's all about the reverberation of yourself and your words you speak. Abracadabra, be careful. You create what you speak. Love you all.
Yeah, speaking is a big thing. I learned a lot on that some years ago about our words, the English language, breaking the words down like you do in the letters and all that. All that has a vibration to it, and your words speak energy.
The answers.
It's all there, and it's crazy how it's like been there the whole time. And then when you finally get to a part where you can see it all, like it makes so much sense, and you can feel it. You feel that it's right.
Exactly. And then we should be in a position where we have 50 like-minded beings sat around a fire, which allows electromagnetism to interact with us, and the energies around us chanting, creating these real sounds, the fundamental 5 sounds.
Yeah.
The A, E, I, O, U, and M on the end, the arm, that's the true arm. And these were the vowels that were given to us. So when we can do these things and we're all together, we don't have any idea what abilities we have, and we're just stuck in a false paradigm on that square wave. You can tell that you're a square.
As a kid, there was so much more to all this. Like when I was a kid, like school,
the word
and
square itself,
I couldn't pay attention at school at all.
That's good.
It didn't feel right. It just felt like forced upon you, basically. It didn't seem like you were really learning. It just feel like they were shoving stuff in your mind. So when you got out into the real world, you basically were programmed to just go right into their next step or trapper, basically, which is a job.
Yeah, definitely. but we're all squares here. SQUR, cube, CUB. We're all boxes. We be oxes. Oxes is the Taurus. Taurus is the bull. The bull is the bull. The bull is be all. And the Taurus is the Taur of us. A Taur backwards is a root. And this is where we've come from. Fundamental laws of this existence is magnetism, dielectricity, and magneto, my friends. On that note, I think, Brother Martin, would you like to finish up?
Yeah. I think it's just so good. We just want to keep going, isn't it? We keep coming back.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think let's leave it there for now, guys. And next Sunday, let's pick it up where we left off and dive even deeper, maybe. Jason, we definitely want to do a syncretism hangout. Maybe we'll just do the three of us, you, Josh, and myself. And maybe we'll just do a syncretism presentation. You can present what you found, and we can all just share. So maybe we'll put a tag on that for now, and then everyone else will see you next Sunday, I suppose. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Josh.
Yeah, nice to meet you all, and keep up the virtues, guys.
Yes.
Love you guys. Take care.
Lots of light. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Time evolves and comes to a place where it renews again.
I've been running from my life, all to the place where I can see that beautiful sunrise. And I've reached inside so many souls, just trying to find some kind of home. But now I realize, and I completely see, that we're caught up in this matrix.
Because they forgot the instructions on how to live on Earth.
Oh, my eyes, they see everything. All the pain and atrocities. Insanity, it seems to be. That we are prisoners of ourselves. 'Cause we will never be free with that mentality. But now I realize, and I completely see, it's never been outside of us. It's always been inside of me.
Everything is spiritual. Everything has a spirit.
Yeah, I tried to find that river's end. For the rapids are so rough, scarring and bruising. My tomorrow, yeah, it's drowning me in sorrows. I just wanna be free, I don't wanna plead to try to be me. And I've been here before, yeah, I'm trying to survive. Wondering if I heal my wounds and strive to just stay alive. Well, I once again tried to find that river's end. I just wanna be free, so help me to see my identity.
Everything is spiritual. Everything has a spirit.